Good day, my happy friends. I am Drew Eric Miller, and thanks for choosing my podcast. With so much content in the world today, it's my honor to bring you just a little more happiness with each listen. I used to wonder, can I be happier? Can I live a rich, abundant life? Can I dream big and manifest my dreams? The short answer is yes, I can. After much dedicated research, I have discovered beneficial action steps, tools, and life hacks while thriving on my journey to deep and meaningful happiness. In this podcast, I am sharing my research so you too can thrive on your journey to happiness. So get comfortable with a notepad or journal, and together we will manifest happiness. Welcome back, happy listeners. Welcome back to episode 14. Today's question is, can I change my personality? Yeah, some people need to do that. I am here to tell you. I'm reading a book by, I believe it's pronounced Olga Khazan, Me But Better. Here's a quote from her book. Personality change may sound like an eerie, out-of-body experience. And as the quantum change stories show, it can be. But the science behind it is remarkably simple. You just have to remember to act how you like to be consistently. When we were growing up, we were taught, just be yourself. And people still talk about it all the time. Just be yourself. You know, don't try to be something different. Just be your natural self. Let your natural personality show. And for years, I remember, well, this is just my personality. This is just who I am. This is just, how I am. Well, when I started reading and learning about spirituality and personal growth and personal development, and I started looking around at different people, and I started to recognize qualities and traits in other people that I admired. And I began to think, what is it about them that people are attracted to that I don't have? What is it about these people that I admire that what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing, that people like, and what they're not liking about me? And it made me realize, okay, me being my natural self is abrasive. Me being my natural self isn't funny. It's sarcastic. Me being my natural self is cutting and aggressive and harsh and just not very pleasing. That was when I discovered, and I'm talking about a long time ago, there's a few people that remember that my old personality and my old way of being, but luckily, there's not that many people that remember that, so I'm pleased to say. But what I realized at a certain point was my natural self, which is what I was calling it, was underdeveloped, was immature, was unknowledgeable, was lacking common courtesies and empathies and just pleasantries that I just didn't have, because I had a child's personality as an adult. And so when people say, just be yourself, it makes me cringe, because you don't know if yourself is what you should be doing. Just because you've acted a certain way and been a certain way and had a certain sense of humor your whole adult life and childhood, your whole life, doesn't mean that needs to continue further. Because if you realize that what's going to make you happier is if you do have a personality change, if you slightly adjust the way and things that you do, because the response you're getting back from more and more people is, I don't like it when you, then that's something that you need to address. So the question is, can I change my personality? Yes, you absolutely can. There's a book about it. She was an introvert, and she talked about lack of social skills, workaholic, and all the different steps that she took in her life to pursue a different personality or change or slightly adjust her personality traits. Like, one of the things I remember she was reading in the book and she was writing was, she was an introvert and she decided to take an improv class, and she didn't want to do it. She didn't like it. She showed up. The person made her, do the improv, kept giving her direction. She kept doing it. She graduated from the first improv class and I'm just going to take another one. And so she signed up for another improv class, and she signed up for a third improv class. And by the time she started signing up for more improv classes, she realized that she was enjoying herself and that she was having a good time. And so what she realized was something that she did, an action she took, which was to be more social and to take this improv class, was actually making her happier in her life, which she did not realize she could do. She thought her personality was fine the way it was. Nothing wrong with being an introvert. Nothing wrong with being a workaholic. Nothing wrong with being antisocial. Nothing wrong with staying home every Friday and Saturday night. There's nothing wrong with any of that, which is true. There isn't anything fundamentally wrong with that. I'll say that again. There is nothing wrong with being an introvert, staying home, or doing any of those introverted things. But if you think doing something different with your life is going to bring you greater happiness or a little bit more happiness, then that is what you can do. And that's what this podcast is about. There's a quote by Socrates that says, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." That's an important point. When you are changing your personality, you're not focusing on, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this, don't be sarcastic, don't be sarcastic, don't be sarcastic. What I did was I focused on slowing my language down and selecting the words that I was going to use. And if I couldn't think of something that was heartfelt and funny, then I didn't say anything at all about a joke. So I'll say that again. What I did was I slowed down, didn't blurt things out, because I wanted to be less sarcastic, less cutting in my personality, in my humor. I wanted to have a better humor. And so by slowing down my thinking and my conversation, I was able to edit my jokes and my humor, and even possibly not be funny at all, just so I could be a different person, so that I wasn't so sarcastic or cutting or any of those things. And it worked. It totally worked. So that was the action that I took. The queen of reinvention says, no matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter where you've come from, you can always change, become a better version of yourself. And that is from Madonna. The queen of reinvention, obviously. Changing your personality, isn't saying necessarily that you are a bad person, because you are not a bad person. But changing your personality can just mean I'm interested in being somebody that's kind, somebody that is well received. I remember after working on my personality over a long period of time, and then after my divorce, and after I went on my journey of self-discovery, I was out socializing, and I saw somebody that I hadn't seen in a long time, and somebody that I used to network with, and somebody that I saw through business and connection and networking. And we had a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, she says to me, "Wow, you are really a different person." She goes, your personality has changed. She goes, "You're so much nicer." She said, "I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but, I thought you were pretty superficial when we used to know each other, and now you just seem so much kinder and more present." And I took that as a huge compliment. I thanked her, and I said, "Yeah, thank you. I feel I've done a lot of personal growth around that, and it really worked." And that was a huge accomplishment for me, because I had made changes in my life about how I spoke and how I acted and how I talked and everything. And now I had a tangible example of the success and the positive recognition from somebody that saw those shifts in me. And so, yeah, you can change your personality. Well, I remember when I was looking for personality traits, I saw that people who spoke slower had a better cadence. They sounded more intelligent and peaceful. And so I started to slow my dialect down, my cadence down, so that I could be more measured in the things that I said and edit my thinking. And so I could also appear more peaceful. I had a very high-end energy naturally, and I spoke fast, and I said things quickly, and I would get myself into a little more trouble because I was speaking quicker and I wasn't thinking before I was saying. So just that little simple observation about someone else, about other people that I admired, I adapted those characteristics to myself, slowing my cadence, being more thoughtful, being more editing of my words, gave me the opportunity to be more peaceful. And people started to recognize that in me, and more people started responding. They started to say, "Oh, I just admire your peace," and "Oh, you just seem so peaceful," and "Oh, I just like being around your peaceful energy." And those are not descriptions that I would have received prior in my old life. I've got some examples for you, and see if there's any of these apply to you. I'm blunt. No, you're probably an asshole. I'm honest. No, you're probably mean. I am high energy. No, you're probably overwhelming. I'm assertive. No, you're probably domineering. I'm an introvert. You could be hiding yourself. I'm sarcastic. No, you're cruel. I'm a realist. No, you probably lack empathy. Andy Warhol says, "They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself." I'll leave you with this. There was a time when COVID happened. I had already had several years of my new personality and my new personality traits, and I was very happy with my life. And then COVID happened, and I stopped being social, And I was only hanging around a few people, and the people I was hanging around with tended to be a little bit more casual with their conversation, a little more sarcastic, or a little more, cutting, or a little more just not the personality traits that I had been aspiring to. And because we were in lockdown and because I wasn't socializing, I very quickly reverted back to my old personality traits. It felt uncomfortable in me, and it wasn't exactly well received by the people around me either. And it ended up costing me. It cost some friends. So I'll give you the example that I use. This is terrible. We were at a party, a card game, a game night at somebody's house, and my sarcastic humor was, well, I'll just say the obviously something ridiculous about this person that nobody is ever going to think that I'm actually being honest. And of course it's humor because it's just so ridiculous. And so the person had said that they were from a country in South America. And I said in my sarcastic humor, where was your family hut that you grew up? Thinking that was obviously sarcastic, obviously silly, but it came across as racist. It came across as a racist comment. I came across as racist, and that is the farthest from what I wanted to be perceived as. And I obviously don't feel that, but it was meant to be a sarcastic, slightly racist joke that was bad, and it ended up costing friendships. And after that moment, I realized, wow, I have really reverted back to my old natural self, my natural state of being that I had let go of many years earlier. And that is not who I want to be. And so I had to go through the steps all over again and recondition my mind, recondition my speech, recondition my way of being all over again a second time. I had to change my personality for a second time. And I was like, wow. But after a little while, all that memory came back, and all that way of being came back. And then I came back to the person that I had changed my personality to the first time. So, yeah, it is possible that you can change your personality. Just don't revert back and then have to change it all over again. Because, yeah, that's not fun. That is not fun at all. So here's your action step. Observe someone's personality you admire and aspire to be, and see what traits that they have that you can apply to yourself. What is it about them that people like, or the characteristics that they like? What is it that you can adapt for yourself that this person has? Step number 2 is break down their characteristics. Step number 2 is break down their characteristics so that you know the changes you need to make. Step number 3, slow down your speech and your thinking so that you can edit what you're saying in any given situation. And number 4 is be mindful. So those are your action steps. Number 1, observe somebody's personality that you admire and aspire to be. Number 2, break down their characteristics so that you can adapt those characteristics as your model for change. Number 3, slow down and think before you act and speak. And number 4, be mindful always. Just because
You have had a personality your whole life. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's what you need to hold on to. Change is inevitable. And if you need to make the necessary changes so that you can be happier in your life and people can enjoy you more and you can live a more fulfilled, rewarding life, then you need to make those changes today. You need to make those changes. Not wait for it. Now is the only time. And so that's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. Be happy, enjoy yourself, and tune in next week.